Well, thanks for staying with us on The Real Story. The Democratic and Republican political machines can get tiresome. The back and forth, the heightened rhetoric, the finger pointing. Sometimes it feels like political decorum has just gone out the window. It's too much for some, and we have seen people leave parties over that political divide. So where's the middle? There's one relatively new political party in Connecticut that's part of a national movement, the Serve America Movement, or SAM. Now, here in Connecticut, it's known as SAM-CT. We've talked about this party on our show before. The late Oz Griebel was involved in SAM-CT. You'll remember that he ran for governor as unaffiliated. The party says its goal is to fix a system, this is a quote, that's been corrupted by mainstream parties and the people who prop them up. They've endorsed several candidates this year, and they have one running under SAM-CT. We're talking about Dan Rosenthal, who is currently the first selectman in Newtown. He actually left the Democratic Party, and he joins us now this morning, along with SAM-CT chair, Monty Frank. Thank you both for joining us this morning on The Real Story.
Thank you for having me, Jen.
Thank you. First Selectman, you are new to the show here. Monty, we've had you on several times before, so our viewers will know you from Team 26 for the racing that you did in Newtown in memory of the victims of Sandy Hook. And then I think you were on here also for when you were president of the Connecticut Bar, if I recall. So welcome back to The Real Story.
Thanks, Jen.
All right, so let's start with you, First Selectman Rosenthal. Why did you decide to leave the Democratic Party and run under SAM-CT?
Well, I would think, like most Americans, we're all trying to figure out what the best way forward is for our country. I mean, I think I had a lot of concern for civility and the way people are working together, and just, hearing a lot of, what are we going to talk to that person for? They're a Republican or vice versa. So, I was doing a lot of soul searching and had decided that, I think I've governed from, or at least the way I've tried to govern is more from the middle. And, I was trying to figure out if I did seek a third term, how I'd want to do it. And I had arrived at, thinking that, I should do it as an independent. I thought it would send a good message to the community to try to center the conversation. I did have a relationship with Monty Frank and Oz Griebel and spent time with them when they had mounted their gubernatorial bid. And I like the message of SAM. I think the message of SAM truly speaks to what, local politics is all about: accountability, transparency, problem solving. So the message just spoke to me. It's absent of ideology, which I think is what's dragging us all down. So I thought that it was a good opportunity to step out in a different way.
What's the reaction that you got? Was it hard leaving the Democratic Party in Newtown?
Sure. I mean, because I didn't do it because I was mad at the Democrats. So I didn't do it to be, as a pro-Republican move, an anti-Democratic move, or however you want to define it. And I did grow up in a Democratic household. My grandfather served as first selectman of Newtown. My father did as well, both as Democrats. I was elected as a Democrat. So certainly it's something that, I didn't take lightly. But again, I'm worried about where politics is going. I'm worried that when sort of the intransigence and the nastiness we see at the national level, if that seeps into the local level, and I am seeing things become more partisan, I fear you can't get it back. So to the extent I can try to, again, reframe that conversation, I want to do that. So it wasn't easy, but I think that feedback publicly has been positive. Maybe not from all, but in general, many people have stopped me to say, hey, thank you for doing that. And among a lot of the chief electeds that I talked to, they're all feeling it too. And a lot of them have said, that they thought what I did was the right thing.
Monty, I want to bring you into this discussion now. So is the first selectman here the first candidate you have running under the party name? Because when did SAM-CT become official in our state as an official political party? It's only been in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, it came out of the race that, my friend Oz and I ran in 2018. We were endorsed by SAM, and because our message and their philosophy aligned. What Oz and I did, I'm a former Democrat, he's a former Republican, coming together to try to solve the problems in our state in a nonpartisan way, resonated with voters. So it was a natural progression. And having Dan run as our first SAM-CT candidate, hopefully will blaze a trail for other first selectmen and other municipal officials across the state and nationally. One of the things that was great about what Dan's doing is we had an event this past weekend in Newtown, and it was attended by Democrats, Republicans, Independents, all talking about our philosophy and the issues that face the town. It was nonpartisan, and in a way, I think really reflected where the voters are. Interestingly enough, Dan received letters of endorsement from both the Democrats and the Republicans in Newtown. So it's clearly a message that's resonating. I think it's what people want, and it will continue to grow as we move forward.
And Monty, you all made several endorsements in races in Connecticut. One of those, the Stamford race, you endorsed State Representative Caroline Simmons, correct?
We did. And we made endorsements in the last statewide elections for state senate and state representative. We made endorsements of a number of municipal races, including Representative Simmons. But what is different about what our endorsements are about as opposed to any of the other parties, it's not about ideology. And I want to make that clear. We don't take a position on the left-right ideological spectrum. Our endorsements are about, do the candidates have a demonstrated track record on shared values of accountability, transparency, problem solving, promoting electoral competition, civility, and making sure that our government performs in a way that benefits the greatest constituency that it can. And that is different than any other political party I have seen. When we explain it to voters, they like it because there's a real desire to kind of turn back the clock to the way politics were, maybe when Dan's grandfather or father was first selectman, when people didn't really know what political party members of boards were. They were just there serving their town and working to try to find solutions.
The skeptics out there are going to say, it's impossible to change the two-party system. What future does the Serve America movement have, and even Sam CT? I mean, Dan, how hard is it to get candidates to do what you did? And is there a real future for this party in our country and in our state?
Well, I view it as a marathon, not a sprint. So I think it's going to take time, but hopefully, my move inspires some others, to do the same. The thing that I think is, and Monty touched on it, I still kept my values. I didn't have to kick my values to the curb to do this. So I think that if we give people the safe space to, again, you can retain your principles and the things that you hold near and dear to your heart, but it's really about good government. And I think if, we really focus people on that, I think we can inspire others to be a part of it. I think you're right. I think that the two behemoths, in the room, if we made it about ideology, that's an impossible shell to crack. But I think that, the principle of electoral competition, I think that the two parties are here to stay. I don't think we're trying to conquer the two parties necessarily, but I think Sam's effort can also make the two parties stronger. I think electoral competition will make the overall, dialogue and dynamic around politics that much stronger. But it will take a lot of work and a lot of effort. I'm, completely open to doing the work. I think Monty is. I think, David Jolly and the other folks that are involved in SAM nationally and across other states are ready to do the work. It's just a matter of inspiring others to join.
Monty, we only have about 30 seconds left, but I'm curious, for the race for governor, which is going to be coming up a year from now, are you looking to run a candidate?
We are looking to run candidates for both governor and lieutenant governor.
Okay.
We've already started those conversations. We will have the third line on the ballot based on the effort that Oz and I put in 2018, and we intend to use it.
Now, just for clarification, Oz ran as unaffiliated, correct? Because this wasn't an official party at that point.
No, we ran as the Griebel Frank for CT party, and we're working to change the name to SAM, and we'll be filing our papers to do that very shortly.
Interesting. All right. First Selectman Dan Rosenthal from Newtown, Monty Frank, thank you both so much for coming on and talking about the Serve America movement, or SAM-CT. We will be watching on Tuesday. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Jen. Much appreciated.
All right, that does it for us on The Real Story. If you want to watch these segments again, head to fox61.com or download the Fox 61 app and watch The Real Story every Sunday at 10 a.m. right here on Fox 61. Have a great morning.